so much fun to film. Right, so let's begin. I do have my board here, writing board, and a pen. And let's start with just basic greeting, shall we? And I'll start with the formal version, because in Czech there are two levels of formality. So one is formal, one is informal, and sometimes you need to use different words for the different levels. Right, so this is actually much harder than I thought, just writing. Right, okay, so here, this is how you say hello, but to somebody you don't know. So for example, you walk into a shop, this is what you would say. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. And like I said, it means hello, but it's the formal version. It literally can be translated as good day. Good day. Dobrý means good. Den means day. So you're saying good day to the person. It's like the Australian greeting. Good day. That's it. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. Dobrý den. Okay. I will also teach you the informal version, which I sometimes see tourists use in like shops, for example. Well, nobody is going to tear your head off if you will use it, but I think everybody would just think it's just kind of cute, you know. It's like, oh, at least this tourist is trying, you know. So, informal version is ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. For those of you who don't know, I have a Czech ASMR channel, and this is how I start my videos with this greeting. It's like when you're on water, and by that I mean when you're on the boat and you're greeting other people. Usually you would say ahoy, right? Or when, I wanted to say when you're a pirate, but I don't know anybody who would be a pirate. Right, so ahoy, 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 ahoy. Okay, so we have learned how to say hi. We should also learn how to say goodbye or bye. This one is a little bit long, and this is a formal version of saying goodbye. So when you're leaving a shop, a restaurant, doctor's office, whatever, you would say na shledanou, na shledanou, na shledanou, na shledanou. Basically, here, normally, if you would read it exactly as it's written, you would say na shledanou, but nobody says that. Okay, it sounds really unnatural. It's really difficult to pronounce. So there is a pronunciation change, and you say na shledanou, shledanou. If you're a bit confused about this, and perhaps you're learning Czech, you can watch my previous video where I talked about the pronunciation changes. Na shledanou, na greeting somebody or when I'm saying goodbye, I usually use this. Ciao, 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 ciao. There are so many like other versions. But this one I feel like is the most common. Okay. Next, I will teach you how to say thank you. Thank you. Okay. Děkuji. 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 Děkuji, 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 děkuji. Děkuji. So this is the standard version. There's no slang. Now, I usually say this. Děkuju instead. That's the more casual kind of version. Děkuju. 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 And you can say this even in a shop, for example. Like if you say děkuju, for example, in Prague, like nobody's going to be like, oh, that's not polite, you know. Like you can say děkuju too. Děkuju. 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 So that means a thank you. You can also say thanks. That's the informal version. But don't say this in shops or to a doctor. It would just sound really weird. And it's dík. 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 Now, me personally, I don't use this even with my close friends or with my family members. I always say děkuju instead. It depends on the person. I don't use this very often. I know people that do use this though. Okay. Next, are you ready? Here's how to say yes. Ano. Ano. No. Ano. 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 This is the formal version. Personally, I don't use this very often. There are people that do, but normally I would just say this. Yo. 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 Yo, which pretty much means yeah. And I use this very often, even in like more formal situation. I usually don't use ano, but again, I know people that do, right? It depends on the person and on the personality and what kind of vocabulary you use, pretty much. What feels natural and comfortable to you. I'm not saying that I've never used ano, but okay. I will also teach you how to say no, and it's ne, 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 ne. So if a random person in Prague comes up to you and is like, oh, would you like to go out with me? You can be like, ne, know what my favorite phrase is? It's this, actually. I say this a lot. It means no thank you. No, no thank you, no thank you. Ne, děkuji, ne. Ne děkuji, ne děkuji. Ne děkuji, ne děkuji. I say this a lot, like even with, for example, like somebody would tell me, oh, you should come to this event. And in my mind, I'm like, ne děkuji. But I would say, oh, I'll think about it. But in my mind, I say this a lot, and it's a bit like sarcastical. Okay, like ne děkuji, no thank you. Okay, next word, please. Please. Please is prosím. Prosím. Prosím, prosím, prosím. Prosím, prosím, prosím. Please. Prosím. Prosím. Prosím, prosím. Prosím, prosím, prosím. Prosím. I use this word a lot. A lot. Prosím, 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 prosím. Next phrase. Nice to meet you. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Nice to meet you. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Nice to meet you. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. Těší mě. One thing that I kind of thought of. Okay. How are you? How are you? Is jak se máte? And this is the formal version. But I've seen like tourists, read this in the dictionary or their vocab list, and then they try to use it as a small talk with just people in shops, at a restaurant. Nobody really does that, okay? Nobody does that. So when you come up to like a cashier and you're gonna be like, dobrý den, jak se máte? Like it's kind of weird, okay? Nobody does that. Just wanted to say that. And the informal version would be this. Jak se máš? Jak se máš? Jak se máš? And this pretty much would be used when, for example, you meet a friend after a very long time and you're like, oh wow, how are you? Jak se máš? Like that's pretty much the only scenario where this would be used. The informal version, I feel like the formal version is just not used ever, really, because it's weird. So with friends you can absolutely use this, but mainly it would be used like, oh, after you, for example, haven't spoken for a real long time. Like if you would speak yesterday and then you'll be like, Jak se máš? It's like, what do you mean we've talked yesterday? Like that. I feel like, yeah, that's how this is used. It's not like, it's basically not a small talk like in America. This is actually a bit of a cultural difference, because if you ask this question to somebody, they will answer truthfully. They might be like, oh, I just divorced my husband, my third child has died, my grandmother has lost her memory. Like, people will answer this truthfully. It's not like a small talk question, basically. But okay, if somebody asks you this question and you're like, okay, what should I say? You can say this. I'm good. I'm fine. Mám se dobře. Mám se dobře. Mám se dobře. Or you can just say dobře. I'm good. How are you? I'm fine. Mám se dobře. Mám se dobře. Mám se dobře. But I feel like this is only used when you don't want to like say the truth, really. Because people will answer all truthfully. Or even if they are actually good, they will maybe give you like some details, some TMI that you didn't ask for, really, because you thought it's just small talk. Yeah. Okay. A very important phrase. Do you speak English? Do you speak English? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? This is formal version, which I feel like you would use more. Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Do you speak English? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Do you speak English? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? Sometimes when you ask this question though, people might answer yes even if they don't really speak English though. Just from my own experience, they'll be like, you know, you might ask like, you know, do you speak English? And they'll be like, yes, I am. Like, just say. You know, they will be honest with you maybe. They'll be like, no, ne, ne. Or they'll be like, definitely, yes. I know, and then you'll hear the worst English in the world. Just, you know, be prepared if you come to Prague. But no, like there are people that actually speak really good English. Of course, like I do, right? Just wanted to, you know, mention that. Okay, I'm definitely not saying that people can't, because I know that they can. Some. Okay. Last phrase for today. Very useful if you come to Prague. Okay, kind of messed up one letter here. Nemluvím česky. Nemluvím česky. Nemluvím česky. Okay, so that will be it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I can definitely make more parts. We can do like numbers, colors. We can do, like, for example, situations at a restaurant, at a cafe. Like, there are so many different ideas that I have. Like, if you would want me to make those, I will definitely make those. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, and good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Thank you to Eric, Chad, and Saintger, and other lovely patrons and members for their support. Here are some other videos you might like.